What's going on, everybody? Matt here. So recently I decided to sit down and watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's a show that I watched a little bit in my childhood, but saying that, I'm not too familiar with the story. I vividly remember some of the episodes and the core characters, but other than that, the show is very new to me. I've never seen it in its entirety, so it was a new experience. Since Avatar is such a love series, I decided to do a review and tell you guys my thoughts as I'm watching the show. I'm going to break it into 3 different reviews, 3 different parts on the different books. This video is obviously part 1. It's going to be on book 1, Water. The next part will be on book 2, Earth. And then the final part or final video will be on book 3, Fire. The reason I'm breaking it into 3 different parts is because it allows me to really focus on that one book without having to worry about the length of the video, dragging it on too much, or just skipping little points that I want to cover. I just want to really review each book in its entirety. While making this video right now, part 1, I'm currently watching book 2 or season 2. I'm a few episodes in, so you can expect that review maybe in about 2 weeks or so. But now that we got that out of the way, let's jump into the review.
Water, earth, fire, air.
Okay, I thought this book was very fun. I will say it started off very simple, where it's like I've seen this storyline before where 2 kids find this all-powerful being who's going to help them stop some other force, and they bring him home. The people at home don't like him. They push him away, and then something comes and attacks their home, but he comes back and saves them. I feel like we've seen that in some way, but it's honestly just for 2 episodes, and it's just to establish the characters. And that's fine. And speaking of the characters, I think the character roster in this show is fantastic. Starting with the main protagonist, Aang. I love Aang. He is such a great character in this book. When we meet him, he's been frozen in ice for about 100 years. And he comes out as this goofy kid. He just wants to have fun. But he realizes he's the Avatar and has this greater responsibility. And one thing I did like is how he's trying to adjust to coming out of the ice 100 years later. He's learning about what's going on with the Fire Nation and kind of what happened in the past, and he's dealing with the past because he's been gone for so long. So much has happened because of him, and for, what is he, 12 maybe? That's a lot of responsibility to be the Avatar, to have to stop the Fire Nation, and it really reminded me of Spider-Man, Peter Parker, I guess you could say. Just because they both have this great responsibility, so much power, but they'd rather be doing other things, living their lives. But because they have this power, they must use it for good. They must stop the force that's attacking them or attacking people. So I just caught that parallel right away. But Aang is such a fantastic character. I like his journey in this book. I will say I kind of know what happens in the future books, but for this book alone, he was great so far. So the 2 kids who find Aang and join him on his journey are Katara and Sokka. 2 fantastic characters. Katara, I really enjoy her character. She's very optimistic, caring, strong, very strong in her beliefs as well. And she fights for what's right, and that's something I really like about her character. I'll touch more on that in a little bit. Sokka, it took a while for him to grow on me. At first I was like, oh, he's just a comedic relief. But no, they developed his character throughout the season. You could tell he's a strong leader, vocal leader, I guess you could say, because he doesn't bend. But he's very strong. He really wants to take down the Fire Nation. That's something I like about him, is he's just very passionate. And yeah, they're just 2 great characters. And then we have the antagonist of Zuko. I like his character. I know where his character goes in the future. For this season, it just felt like they were still building him up. I like how he was a banished prince. His father's the Fire Lord who banished him because he spoke out. I don't know if that's season 2 or season 1. Like I said, I watched a few episodes, so I kind of know what happens. But yeah, Zuko's a pretty good antagonist. I'm enjoying him so far. I kind of like how he kind of rebels against the Fire Nation at times, where he's like freeing Aang and helping out the Avatar group in a way. And speaking of helping out the Avatar group, Uncle Iroh. I love Uncle Iroh. He is fantastic. He just a very great balance to Zuko, and I like how he's on his journey with him, whereas Zuko's just hard-headed. He just knows what he wants. He's determined, and he's just very fierce, very stuck on his ways, where Uncle Iroh tries to talk sense to him. He's kind of like the calming one, and he's just very down to earth, very Uncle Ben in a way. I hate bringing out like the Spider-Man references, but he's kind of like the Uncle Ben where he's just like always saying something just to motivate people or to get people to think on a different level. And I think they just balance each other out very greatly. Two great characters, and like I said, I know where they go, so I'm excited to see the future for the show and with them. But they're great as well. The final character I kind of want to talk about, who I actually really liked in this season, was Admiral Zhao. I think I'm saying that right. He's kind of like the sub-antagonist where it's kind of like him versus Zuko at some points where they're going back and forth, even though they're both Fire Nation. They both want to capture the Avatar. Zhao wants to take down the Northern Water Tribe, I think it is. No, yeah, Northern Water Tribe. And those final 2 episodes are amazing. And what I like about Admiral Zhao is he has this menacing presence, yet he's very calm. I love how he's just like, yeah, I just want to be remembered in the history books. And it's just very fierce, very menacing, but it's like this calmness to him. And what he does in those final 2 episodes, man, I hate him for it. But he's such a great villain, and I really enjoyed his character. He's top tier for me so far. I mean, I think he's gone. I don't know if he died. I can't remember if he died, but I don't think he comes back. I'll just say that. But man, he's a great villain for this first book, him and Zuko. But Zuko's more of a, I wouldn't say he's like the main antagonist. I guess in this book he is, but he gets redeemed. I know that in the future he does. So anti-hero, I don't even know if I could use that term for him. Zuko is just a very complex character, which is great. But Admiral Zhao, yeah, he's a fantastic character. But now that I kind of went over the characters that I like and what I think of them, let's talk about the episodes. So this season had 20 episodes. Some of them were kind of unneeded. I'm not hating. Some of them were important. Some were more important than others. But there were some where I'm like, okay, could we skip this? For one instance, The Great Divide. Yeah, it was a nice episode, but I could do without that. The Fortune Teller one was another one where I was like, yeah, I don't know if we could do with that one. You could probably take those 2 away. There's probably another one. But then there were some amazing episodes in this one. For instance, the 3rd episode where Aang goes and visits the Air Temple. He sees like bodies and corpses of people he used to know, and he's kind of having flashbacks to the days where he visited there. I can't remember if this was a temple he lived at, but yeah, he's having a hard time dealing with the events that happen, and he goes into the Avatar state, but Katara stops him, and that was just really cool. Kind of sad to see, but seeing him unleash that power for the first time was pretty cool. Another episode I like is episode 6. It's the episode where Katara kind of gets the young man, the young earthbender, arrested. She feels bad, so she sneaks in and starts like a revolt with all the earthbenders. And it was nice seeing her give that speech. It was motivating. And that's something I like about her character. She doesn't give up. You know, she's like, let's fight. And they don't want to fight, but she keeps pushing them. And then finally, they fight against the Fire Nation and escape. And another fantastic episode right there. And then the 2 episodes following that are also great. The Winter Solstice episodes. Those were maybe one of the better episodes in this whole season. I mean, for one, we saw Aang interact with the past Avatar Roku. Is it Roku? I think it is. That was just badass. I don't know if this is the episode he goes to the spirit universe or spirit world. But he interacts with different spirits, one of those being Roku. And the way that Roku, I think it's Roku like taking control of Aang through the Avatar state, maybe? Is that how it is? I don't know too much about the lore, but Roku fights against the Fire Nation. I guess, yeah, I'm just going to call it in the Avatar state. And he's just wrecking things. I'm just like, holy crap, this is badass. And it was fantastic, that episode. It was just really great. The Jet episode was a cool one. It was cool seeing that other people are rebelling against the Fire Nation. The Blue Spirit was another cool one, how this guy helps Aang escape from the Fire Nation, and then we find out that guy is Zuko, and it's just like, oh wow, I did not expect that. That was a cool one. And yeah, I guess maybe the 2 best, I already know I said the other 2 were the best, but the real 2 best episodes of this season were 19 and 20, The Siege of the North, Part 1 and 2. Man, what a way to finish this season out. So at the point of these last 2 episodes, Aang has trained with a waterbending master or teacher for a little bit. He's a little more skilled in waterbending, and these last 2 episodes are about the Fire Nation attacking the Northern Water Tribe. Admiral Zhao is leading the Fire Nation, and Zuko and Iroh are kind of tricking him in a way. They're playing him where Iroh's like, I'm going to team up with you, Admiral Zhao, and blah, 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 blah. But really, I mean, it's just a decoy, I guess you could say. But a lot happens in these last 2 episodes. For one, Sokka kind of meets this girl that he likes, yet she's connected to some spirit because when she was born, the spirit helped keep her alive, I think it is. But then at the end, she sacrifices herself. Okay, I'm jumping ahead. Hold on. Let's take a step back. So yeah, Sokka falls in love with this girl, blah, 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 blah. But we realize that the Water Tribe isn't enough to take on the Fire Nation, and that Aang has to contact or come in contact with other spirits from the spirit realm. So he does that, but while he does that, Zuko captures him. I'm like, oh no, shit's going bad. And while Aang is in that avatar state for a while, Admiral Zhao is able to advance. He's able to send troops over, and he realizes he learns or knows that there's some god or some spirit in the pond of the Water Tribe, so he wants to get there to kill it. And we learned that those spirits are Water and Moon. Is that what it is? It's the 2 koi fish, the black and white one, and the white one's the moon. And Admiral Zhao pulls that fish out of the water, and it basically erases the moon, which erases the water bending. Is it their powers or their ability to bend strong? I think it's just their bending in general. The water benders can't bend. And it's a crazy moment, and Iroh's trying to talk him out of it. He's like, you're gonna destroy the world. Or covering the moon or darkening the moon or whatever it is. You're not just hurting the waterbenders, you're hurting the Fire Nation. And he's like, yeah, you're right. He tosses the fish back into the pond, and he's like, nah. And he blasts it with like a fire blast, killing the moon spirit. The moon is just darkened now for a while. And then we learned that Yue, or I think that's her name, Yue, like the high school from My Hero, she's somehow connected to this goddess. I think the god or the spirit, goddess spirit, whatever, the spirit, and the spirit gave her a little bit of life when she was born, so she gives it back, sacrificing her life. And I was like, oh wow, they went this dark. I wouldn't say dark, but like, I was like, wow, I can't believe Nickelodeon would do this, a kids show, I guess you could say. But it's not really a kids show. I mean, there's a lot of truth to it, a lot of just deeper meaning. But yeah, so she sacrifices her life to help the moon spirit, and then the moon comes back, and Aang goes into like this crazy avatar state where he's this giant water monster and he's taking everybody out. It's just a crazy finale, and I think this season is just amazing as is, but this finale just makes it and brings it over the top. I mean, there's just so much that happens, so many different things that just make it so enjoyable. For one, Zhao is just ripping the spirit out of the pond, just causing complete darkness, erasing all water bending technique, and then you have Yue sacrificing herself and going in that crazy avatar state. It's just so much happens. I'm just like, wow. I didn't think they'd be able to pull off this great of a finale to the end of the first book. I'm just like, wow. I mean, the show just did so much, and I'm so excited for the future. I think just looking at these 2 episodes alone, you could tell how great the show is. I was honestly on the edge of my seat throughout these 2 episodes, just wondering how much more they can do, and it just kept doing so much more. And for a while, I'm just like, wow, they're just, the Fire Nation is just causing great destruction, and it looked like it was over. Once he removed the water spirit, or sorry, moon spirit, and then he put it back and killed it, I was like, oh wow. I don't know how they're going to recover, but obviously they found a way. But I don't know, these last 2 episodes were just so well done. Just the storytelling level, the animation level. Oh, the animation, I didn't even talk about that. I'm not even an animator. I don't know anything about animation, but it looked beautiful with like the red sky, the whole red shining on everybody from like the moon. that was great. But then when everything goes black and white in a way, or gray, I guess you could say, fantastic. I mean, yeah, these last two episodes are just storytelling masterpiece, and I can't stress that enough. Like how great these last two episodes are, and I don't know, this season as a whole exceeded my expectations. I really enjoyed this season. It did start off kind of slow. I will say it started off somewhat slow, and I was like, okay, this is a fun journey, but when does it get really good? And towards that midpoint onward, it got really good. Honestly, I don't know how much more I could talk about this season. It's so good. If I had to give it a rating, I have my own rating scale now. If you haven't seen me and Joey's rewatch series, go check it out. I'll link it in the description down below on his channel. But I created like this review scale, just, I don't know, just for the fun of it. It's called the MMOMRS, the Mixed Mat Official Movie Ranking Scale. In this case, it's not a movie, but we're still going to use it. As you can see it on the screen, it just, I don't know, it's a cool guide, I guess you could say. But for this first season, I'll give it a ranking of an 8.5, just between great and amazing. Like I said, there's a few episodes in here that I didn't really enjoy. I mean, I liked them, but they weren't like amazing. Where you had those last two episodes in the winter solstice episodes, which were just amazing. They were just amazing. So I'll give it an 8.5. I think that's a really good score. Just knowing me, that's a great score. I know this review was kind of all over the place at times, but that's just because I really liked it and just wanted to keep talking about it and just talk about certain things. But yeah, that's my review of the first book. Like I said, it's a fun book. It's really enjoyable, and there's some great moments. If you haven't checked it out, I mean, what are you doing? Go check it out. In the comments down below, let me know what you guys think on this book, book 1, or season, whatever you want to call it. In the comments down below, your thoughts, your feelings, maybe your favorite character, favorite moment, favorite episode. But yeah, book 2 will be coming soon, and then followed by book 3. I'm watching book 2 right now, and man, I'm just going to say it's pretty good so far. Definitely keeping the same consistency, so I'm excited to finish this book and then start book 3. But yeah, subscribe for that, like for that, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.